Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Rune Words. Today we're going to be looking over a very interesting rune word and a very useful rune word. And I hope to bring this one to your attention. It is the rune word Rime. Now, Rime is a very cheap rune word with a level requirement of only level 29, and it only requires the runes Shael and Eth, which are both relatively easy to come by runes that you will have in rather large quantities. Now, this particular rune word does not have any enhanced defense, so keep that in mind, but it does have some very strong defensive capabilities. As we go over the rune word, you'll see. We have a 40% faster block rate, which is going to severely increase the speed at which you block, which is very useful. We have a 20% increased chance of blocking, which is going to help you have a higher chance of getting those blocks off. Now keep in mind that on certain classes, blocking is not desirable. If you are not building block, chances are you do not want increased chance of blocking, because it's going to increase the chance that you will get stuck in a block lock, so to speak. Because if you have very low, faster blocking, you will not block very quickly. It will be a very slow block process with a very slow drawing back of your shield, and sometimes that's going to get you into trouble. Now, it does have 11% enhanced defense here because this is made in a superior base, so keep that in mind. And we also have regenerate mana 15%, which is going to scale with your mana pool. So if you have a very tiny mana pool, it's not going to do very much, and if you have a very large mana pool, it's going to do a lot more. Always keep that in mind when you're looking at regenerate mana, warmth, and things like that. We have all resistances 25, which is very nice to have on a shield. It's not like an amazingly large number like Sanctuary's 70, but it's still really nice. We have cannot be frozen on it as well, which is a very easy way that you can get cannot be frozen very early game at level 29. There are some other ways that you can get cannot be frozen early on, but this is one of, I think, the easiest ways, especially if you are using a shield. And we have 50% extra gold for monsters, and then of course we also have 25% better chance of magic items, which is absolutely amazing for magic finders. So this is actually a very popular magic find shield. If you are a magic finding sorceress, or a magic finding necromancer, or a magic finding character of just about any type that uses a shield, this is probably going to be your go-to magic find shield, unless you have a six-isted actually you can only do 4 sockets in a shield, can't you? A four-isted shield, and that is a very expensive option. This is going to be your go-to shield until you get rich. Now, the amazing things about this shield are, number one, it's very cheap to make. So you can make it, you can then forget about it, drop it on the ground, who cares, make another one later. There are tons of 2-socket shields which are going to be dropping all the time, and I would recommend making it in a bone shield or a grim shield if you have the option, because bone and grim shields have a much faster run walk attached to them. Shields actually have penalties as far as their run and walk speed, and I believe it is trying to remember the exact penalties right off the top of my head, but it's not like a ton, but if you have like one of the heavier, the really heavy shields, they do have a small penalty to your run walk speed, so keep that in mind. The grim shield, the bone shields and things like that, however, do not, so you don't have to worry about that. And it really doesn't matter altogether, but if you did have a 2-socket Grim Shield, that would be an excellent choice because it has a high block chance. Or if you're going for a really low block chance, you can look for a much crappier shield with a lower block chance for that. But you probably still want a decent defense on there. And all in all, this rune word is actually really interesting because not only can it be put in shields, it can also be put in Necromancer Heads. So I have a Necromancer over here, my Naked Mancer, who is running a Rime shield in a particular head, specifically so that I have access to lower resist without actually having to put any points into it. And basically what I've done is I found a Necromancer head that has +2 lower resist on it, and then put the Rime shield in it so that then I have access to lower resist with a shield that has some pretty nice resistances, cannot be frozen, and magic find. And I use it specifically for my magic find set. So so when I'm taking this character around and he is doing his magic find, he's using his rhyme shield, but his rhyme shield is also providing him with his plus to skills. And keep in mind that the plus to skills that you can put on your rhyme shield vary depending on what you find. So here I have a Splendor, which has plus 2 revive, plus 3 summon resist, and plus 2 to crepify, which is also a decent magic find shield. So it really depends on what bases you find. And because Necromancer Heads don't spawn in anything more than 2 sockets, it tends to be the only 2 recipes that you can put in their shields is basically Rhyme and Splendor. So keep that in mind. As a rune word, I think Rhyme is a very, very valuable rune word, both for melee classes who want really high block chance and cannot be frozen in all resistances, and it's very important for melee characters to have cannot be frozen early game. And until you have a Ravenfrost or a Trang's Belt or whatever other effect like Kira's Guardian that is going to give you cannot be frozen, this is a good way for you to get cannot be frozen in the meantime. It's also a very good shield for magic finders early game, so if you are a magic finding sorceress or a magic finding necromancer or whatever you happen to be, 25% extra magic find with some resistances and cannot be frozen is certainly hard to turn down. Just a very interesting shield all around, and I think you'll agree with me that when it comes to the Rhyme shield, you'll probably be making a lot of them for your new characters. Anytime you have an opening and you realize, oh hey, my character could really use a Rhyme shield, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and make one real quick. Oh, here's a 2-socketed shield. I can throw it in right now. You can even go to Pharah, and believe it or not, Pharah in normal difficulty, a lot of the times, will have a 2-socket kite shield or a 2-socket large shield or something like that. You can throw it in for the time being until you find a better base. And it's definitely a rune word I've made a lot, that's for sure. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching these videos, and thanks for watching, and keep watching.